Today our lesson says, I can recognize numbers from billions to billionths. So notice we have the same beginning of the word, but this, the THS, tells me that this is a decimal. And I'm guessing it's a long, long way from the ones place, because it's a billionth, which is a very small number, and billions is a very large number. Our first page today has us looking for patterns and symmetry around the ones place. So notice that they've highlighted the ones place all the way down this page. So symmetry means that this side of the page is going to be a reflection of this side of the page. And I can kind of see that pattern already. I see that originally there was a 1 here, now there's a 10, and then over here I see a 0, 1. And my next place says 100. So I'm going to fill in 100, and that has to end in the ones place. So 100. Now 100th. Of course I want a 0 in the ones place, and then a 0 in the tenths place, and 100th. Okay, notice the pattern. Here I've got 1 and 2 zeros, and here I've got 0 and 2 ones. A 0, 2 zeros, and then a 1. So I can reflect across this line. We're going to do one or two more together. 1,000. So I know that this is going to be the ones place, tens place, hundreds place, and there's the 1,000. I could put a comma there if I want. So there's my 1,000, 1,000. And again, I'm going to start in the ones place, 0. I've got 0 tenths, 0 hundredths, and finally 1,000th with a TH. I want you to complete this page, continuing to focus on that pattern that you see of symmetry or a reflection across the ones place. At this point, you should pause the video and complete this page. Next, we will move on to the next page. Now we've got comparing and ordering large numbers. Directions say, in 2001, the Census Bureau reported these populations for 5 counties. Looks like the word countries, but there's no R. So counties. So I see a table here. I want to look at the whole table first so I know what I'm actually going to be learning about. I see the 2 titles here, the 2 headings are county and state. And then I see a list of counties and states. And populations. So these are going to be the populations over here. So I've got St. Louis, Missouri, Fairfax, Virginia, Hennepin, Minnesota. Hey, that's where we live. We live in Hennepin County. Allegheny, Pennsylvania, and Oakland, Michigan. So now it says write the names of the counties in order from least population to greatest population. So I noticed that they've done something very helpful for us. They've actually lined up the ones place. So all of my place values line up here. And I've got the commas that prove that, yes, this is lined up. And again, the commas here. If I'm looking for the least population first, I'm going to start on the left side and compare the largest place values to see which one, if there's any differences. So I see 1 million something, no million something. So this one is less than this one. 1 million and something, 1 million and something, 1 million and something. So I found my least, and it says what county, so I'm going to name it as Fairfax, Virginia. Next, I'm going to go back to the table and see which one's next lowest. So I might just put a little check mark next to this to show that I've already used it. I proved that all of these have 1 million and something. So next I'm going to go to the 100,000s place and compare there. And remember, I'm going to ignore Fairfax, Virginia now because I've found that that's the least. So I've got a 0. Well, that's the lowest you can get there. A 1, a 200,000s, and 100,000. So I've identified my second least, St. Louis, Missouri. And I would write that on the line next to Fairfax, Virginia. I'm going to keep moving forward. I also noticed that there are 2 that have a 1 in it and 1 that does not. So I have also identified my highest. This one must be my largest because in the 100,000s place, I've got a 0, a 1, a 2, and a 1. So these two, one of these is going to be the next lowest, and this one must be the highest because it has 1,200,000 something. So for the next place, I look at the 10,000s place, and I see right away that Hennepin County has 10,000 people, and here they have 90,000. So Hennepin is going to be third, fourth, and Allegheny, Pennsylvania is going to be fifth. Okay, I would pause the video right now. I'm going to move forward. Next it says, which counties have a population greater than 1 billion? You might want to look at your last page to figure out what does 1 billion look like. So whatever you filled in here, that would help you. What does 1 billion look like? The next question says, which county's population is closest to 1 million? So I see a couple that are pretty close to 1 million. This has over 1 million, and that was the lowest one, over 1 million. And then I saw that this one is almost up to 1 million. So between these two, one of them is going to be closer than the other. I might have to do some addition and subtraction to figure out which one is actually closer, comparing to 1 million. Again, we're using a table here to compare these large numbers. I'll read the directions for you. A manufacturing company produces 4 different styles of shoes. The number of pairs of each style that was produced is shown on in the table on the right. So I've got annual production in pairs. Here's my styles, A, B, C, D, and how many were created in pairs. So order the production numbers from greatest this time to least. So I'm going to start with the greatest number and go to the least number. Remember to start in the largest place value and work to the right. Number 5, the company's goal was to produce 250,000 pairs of style A shoes. Did the company achieve its goal? Why or why not? 250,000. How much is 250,000? I remember that a quarter is also the same as 1/4. So 1/4 million. Did they achieve 1/4 of 1 million? And finally, is 900,000 pairs a reasonable estimate of the total production of all 4 styles? 900,000 pairs. Is that a reasonable estimate? So you're going to either round these and add them up, or mentally add them by rounding and estimating. Pause the video and I will preview the next page next. All right, on our last page, I'm not going to give too much information here, but it does have vocabulary. You've got standard form, word form, short word form, and expanded form. In our place value system, numbers can be expressed in different ways. For example, 4 different ways to represent the number 3,526 are shown. Standard form, that's how you always see it, usually see it. Word form, it's all words, notice, 3,526. And short word form, they use a digit and then the place value, 3,526. And expanded form, they take each place value and write it by itself. So I've got 3,000, then I've got 500, plus 20, plus 6. Use that information to complete the page.